Trump's tariffs on a bounty of goods heading from Canada to south of the border is set to kick in tomorrow. And most recently, he announced a further 15% tariff on goods from a broader swath of trading partners.
So let's talk more about this morning now with Ian Lee, Associate Professor at the Sprott School of Business at Carleton University. Ian, we always appreciate your time. So here we are. Tariff talk again. It's dominating our politics at the provincial level in the last campaign, federally now as well. But it's this on again, off again. Will Donald Trump be kind to us? Nature of it. How are markets and businesses trying to manage and deal with this ongoing threat?
Well, let's be very clear. It's overwhelmingly negative. When you look at the consumer confidence and business confidence, they're two separate measures taken, and they're done monthly, measured monthly in both Canada and the States. And they're plummeting on both sides. And that gives you an idea about this consumer confidence and business confidence, gives you an idea if consumers are going to dial back their spending and if businesses are going to dial back their investments in their business. These numbers are going south. They're going down. They're going negative in both countries. So this is forewarning us that the economy is declining and we could be going into a recession.
And Ian, I'm so curious because this whole thing with Trump and the threat of this trade war has really, as Canada, all the federal party leaders looking inward on how we can shore up our own economy, protect our resources, our jobs, our industries. Is there anything we can do as a country to kind of mitigate the damage that's happening right now with the uncertainty and going into the future if we get slapped with more and more tariffs?
Jen, that is the $66 million question. Believe me, that is it. What are we to do? I've been very, very clear on this in various discussions I've had publicly that retaliatory tariffs, I do not believe, are the way to go. There's tons of studies on this. First off, retaliatory tariffs are by the Canadian government on Canadian consumers. So it's going to make life even more unaffordable in Canada. And so it's, you don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Yes, we want to do something to push back against Donald Trump, but, punching yourself and banging your head against the wall is not the way to go. Okay, so what can we do? Yes, we've got to make the economy much more competitive, get rid of interprovincial trade barriers that Stephen Polas says all by itself. If we get rid of those $200 billion, that will more than offset and mitigate any of the Trump tariffs that are being imposed. But the other thing, very quickly, Jen, we got to get to the negotiating table. There's no, you end a war, whether it's a military war, you don't end it by going on a new bombing campaign. You don't end a trade war by announcing new retaliatory tariffs. We got to get to the table. And I do applaud Premier Carney for announcing that after the election, the next government is going to be discussing with Trump a new agreement. So I think that's the way to go.
I'm curious, though, Ian, how do you negotiate with someone who goes back on deals that they signed already? I mean, it was Donald Trump who signed, basically NAFTA 2.0. You see the latest Nanos polling we've got this morning says 77% of Canadians are willing to tax basically tariff our natural resources. And it seems to me, and, this may just be my opinion, but, whether it's Doug Ford or whether it's, the Liberal government at the time, the retaliatory tariffs got the attention of the Trump administration. I know it's a sort of three-part question, but feel free to answer whichever part you like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me deal with the last one first, because I'm hearing it from a lot of people. Look, it brought him to the table, brought him to respond. I don't accept that. When you look at the actual record, what he has done in response to what we have said on our side is he has ratcheted up. I mean, he's doing Liberation Day. He's announcing Liberation Day, and he's going to whack an awful lot of countries, starting with Canada. So I understand the sentiment that he can't be trusted, but we do have that paper from Stephen Marin, who is now his chief economist, and he spells out in there in crystal clear detail what he wants. He wants our protected industries opened up. There's 5 or 6 of them. Supply management and, of course, telecom are the two big ones. He wants the borders tightened up. He wants us to spend more on national defense. So, people can say, well, we don't want to make those compromises. That's a separate question. I can't deal with that. If we're not willing, if we don't want to make those compromises, well, then we really will have a trade war indefinitely. But for those who think, well, look, we've got to come to an agreement, we've got to compromise, I believe, because he has said so repeatedly, if we do these things that he is seeking, the end of that digital service tax on tech giants in the U.S., tightening the border, cleaning up the border to make it more not so porous with illegal immigration, drugs, guns, that sort of thing, and the protected industries, I think we can come to a deal. Premier Carney seems to think so because he announced that he's going to start negotiating right after the next election, assuming he is the next prime minister.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Ian Lee, Associate Professor at the Sprott School of Business at Carleton University. Always good to see you, Ian, and get your insight. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ian.